Right now, on to the point. Funding versus cuts. Governor Gavin Newsom lays out his revised budget plan aimed to erase the state's deficit.
Tonight, I'm taking you inside San Quentin, where the state has transformed part of the prison with a new model focused on rehabilitation.
Breaking down the top candidates in the race for Congressional District 7. What sets Doris Matsui and Mai Vang apart. Our Champions of Hope shines a light on school staff members who came to the rescue of a student in distress. Governor Gavin Newsom presented his updated state budget today. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Laura Painter. The governor's revisions come as the state faces a budget deficit. ABC 10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Huh explains how the governor is trying to balance it.
I'm not just trying to get out of Dodge and enjoy 6 months of the next governor saying, well, I left you a balanced budget. This is a balanced budget structurally for the next 18 months. After I'm gone.
A $350 billion budget proposed for California's upcoming fiscal year. But some positive news, Newsom says, amid years of budget deficits and criticism over state spending. No deficit for the next 2 years.
We got a detailed plan, and we're cutting deficits.
In his initial January proposal, the Newsom administration had projected a budget shortfall of about $2.9 billion next year and $22 billion the year after. So how is California in a budget surplus of about $4.5 billion next year and $2.1 billion the year after now? It's a mix of factors: higher than expected state income tax revenue, largely due to the AI boom and resulting success in the stock market, as well as additional revenue via additional taxes on corporations.
Some limited tax decreases for small businesses, but then tax increases on corporations, particularly tech companies.
But also more cuts to healthcare programs, especially on coverage for undocumented immigrants.
We're also looking to reduce costs. And this is where we get into, the more challenging issues.
Additional proposals, which Newsom says were forced upon the state due to new eligibility requirements from the federal government, including raising Medi-Cal premiums for undocumented immigrants from the scheduled rise from $0 to $30 to $50 instead.
That's called reality. It's called math. That's a difficult thing, and we try to do it in a thoughtful way. It was originally $100. They went down to $30, I think $50 under the circumstances, but good people going to disagree.
And transitioning certain undocumented immigrants to fee-for-service health care, which would save the state $1.5 billion in the coming years, but could make accessing certain care more difficult for people.
Well, fee-for-service is a direct result of the federal government.
Meantime, Republicans are once again criticizing the governor's fiscal outlook as concerning and irresponsible.
He really isn't doing anything about the structural debt, bringing spending down to a level below revenues.
Jenny Huh, ABC 10.
Jenny, thank you. Governor Newsom's former chief of staff pleaded guilty to federal charges today in a plea deal. It follows a scheme to siphon money from a dormant campaign account belonging to Javier Becerra, reaching $225,000. Neither Becerra nor Newsom has been accused of any wrongdoing by federal officials. Dana Williamson pleaded guilty to 3 federal felonies. In exchange, the federal government dropped 20 other charges against her. Williamson and a lobbyist named Greg Campbell directed $10,000 a month to Sean McCluskey for his personal use. Becerra at the time was serving as HHS secretary under President Biden. McCluskey was his chief of staff. Becerra had a dormant fund for a potential 2030 state superintendent campaign. Williamson and McCluskey asked him to approve paying $10,000 a month from the fund for its management while dormant. Becerra agreed to that, but federal prosecutors say Becerra had been lied to and did not know the money was actually being funneled to McCluskey's wife for the family's personal use.
My client has told me from day one that she never had any direct communication with Javier Becerra about this. Her communication about this whole concept was exclusively through Mr. McCluskey.
ABC 10 asked Becerra to respond to Williamson's guilty pleas. He told ABC 10 in a statement, quote, "As I said from day one, I was not involved. I did nothing wrong. And now the record confirms it. We can close the book on this." Today's plea deal is catching the attention of California's gubernatorial candidates. In a statement, Tom Steyer says in part, quote, "We know that Javier Becerra likely broke state law, and now he's at the center of an ongoing criminal investigation. Democrats cannot afford to wake up June 3rd and discover we've got a criminal on our hands. Javier Becerra should not be our governor, and we can't risk having him as our nominee," end quote. Again, Becerra has not been accused of wrongdoing. We'll have more candidate reaction coming up tonight at 11. Years after Governor Newsom placed a moratorium on executions and introduced plans to dismantle death row, there's now a new model in place at San Quentin State Prison. It's focused on rehabilitation and workforce training. Today, To The Point host Alex Bell went inside the prison to see what's changed to help prepare incarcerated people for life after release.
This is my second time reporting inside San Quentin, and one thing that really stands out is the environment feels completely different than what most people probably expect. Inside, there is a brand new learning center with open spaces and classrooms. Honestly, it feels more like a college campus than a correctional facility. Inside those walls, changes are happening, and state leaders say those changes are intentional. From the outside, the renamed San Quentin Rehabilitation Center still looks like the historic prison Californians have known for generations. Inside is something entirely different. An old warehouse is now an 80,000 square foot learning center. It's part of the state's effort to turn San Quentin into what leaders call a new California model for rehabilitation and workforce training.
I've worked for the Department of Corrections for 23 years. What I've seen is that when you provide people with better opportunities, they choose to make better choices. And so that's really what San Quentin is about.
With open walkways, computer classrooms, and hands-on training, the new learning center is one of the biggest physical changes made to the San Quentin campus in decades, all to create an environment that prepares inmates for life outside prison and keep them from returning.
And I want to pursue college when I get out of here, so I know that everything that I did while I was incarcerated, it wasn't just for me. It was for people in society, my family, the family that I hurt as well. So that way when I do re-enter society, I won't hurt nobody else.
According to the CDCR's website, this project cost $239 million through a lease revenue bond. The Learning Center has programs like coding and its long-running journalism program designed to build job skills.
Yeah, I've been incarcerated since I was a teenager. In total, been going to 33 years now. You know, I feel like the dinosaur in the room because there was no computer whatsoever back in those days. It is a privilege.
One of the organizations leading the way, The Last Mile, says employment is one of the biggest factors in reducing the chances someone returns to prison.
I definitely got more hope now for when I get out, pursuing a career and actually learning new skills to where I can go out there and actually get a job.
But the transformation has also raised frustrations at the state capitol over costs and impact to victims, something we also asked inmates about during our visit.
The reality is that there's a lot of people that hurt people, hurt others. And if we can help people to heal right here in prison, we can probably diminish all the anger, all the hatred and violence going on in our society.
State officials say the long-term goal is public safety with successful reentry into communities. And the changes extend far beyond the learning center that we just showed you. We also learned that a part of the prison that once housed death row inmates is now being transformed into more housing for inmates. It's just part of the broader transformation happening here at San Quentin. Reporting in Marin County, I'm Alex Bell.
Very eye-opening. Alex, thank you. Still ahead on To The Point, the ballots are out and voters are deciding on big congressional races. Tonight, we take a closer look at the top candidates in District 7.
And we've been talking about the weekend winds for a few days now, but there is now a fire weather watch across the valley, increase in fire danger. I've got a full look at that forecast after the break.
Let's talk weather now. Another beautiful spring day, but Brendan, changes are coming. You're tracking a weather impact alert for fire danger.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing about fire danger is that it has more to do with the wind and the humidity than it does temperature. Of course, on hot days, it can exacerbate that fire danger, but we were 89 today. This weekend, when fire danger peaks, we will actually be cooler. Keep that in mind. 90 in Stockton, 89 in Modesto this afternoon, 81 Jackson, 84 in Auburn, 73 Truckee and Tahoe. Temperatures warmer than normal across Northern California, about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than normal across the valley today. As we look at temperatures right now, we are in the mid-80s, 85 in Sacramento, 85 in Vacaville, 87 in Stockton, 88 in Modesto, 66 in Tahoe and 70 in Truckee. We've got that Delta breeze picking up, and that is going to help us cool off, but we are a bit warmer than where we were 24 hours ago. Friday morning, it'll be a mild start. Low to mid 50s, pretty much where we ought to be. Clear skies, 54 Sacramento, 53 Stockton, 55 Modesto, mid 30s in the high country. Friday afternoon, similarly warm to what we had today, back in the upper 80s and low 90s across the valley. Low to mid 80s in the foothills and right near 70 up near Tahoe. Pattern is changing though. High pressure remains off to our west, but this system dropping in over the weekend is going to bring us northerly flow, and that means some strong northerly winds down the valley. Fire weather watch for Saturday through Monday. Here's why. Delta breeze tomorrow, but then on Saturday you see northerly winds starting to pick up, and by Saturday night into Sunday morning those winds get much stronger, overspreading the valley through Sunday afternoon. Widespread 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts. Some parts of the valley could see gusts closer to 50 miles per hour. We'll also see some pretty strong easterly winds in the Sierra, and these strong winds will continue until we get towards Monday evening. So weather impact alert Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for fire danger. Humidity value is going to be between about 9 and 15%. Then the winds die down and we warm back into the 90s. Laura.
Okay, good to know, Brendan. Thank you. Coming up, 2 Democrats and 2 very different visions for California's new 7th Congressional District. ABC 10's Becca Habiger joins us with a closer look at the candidates. The June primary is less than 3 weeks away. All congressional seats are up for grabs again. Tonight, we're looking at California's Congressional District 7. ABC 10's Becca Habiger joins us now with a closer look at the top candidates. Becca.
Laura, following the passage of Prop 50, California's newly redrawn congressional districts mean many incumbents seeking re-election need the votes of people they've never before represented. Now take a look. District 7 currently encompasses the southern half of Sacramento County from the Sacramento rail yards down. The newly redrawn district contains parts of San Joaquin and El Dorado counties, including Placerville and El Dorado Hills. Now, there are 6 candidates in this race whose names you'll see on the ballot, and 2 of them have measurable campaign activity of more than $100,000, according to FEC filings. They are incumbent Representative Doris Matsui and Sacramento City Council member Mai Vang.
I grew up on a farm in the Central Valley, and I spent many years representing the core of Sacramento. I understand firsthand how different communities have different needs.
Congresswoman Doris Matsui and Sacramento City Councilmember Mai Vang are running to represent California's newly redrawn 7th Congressional District.
So I was born and raised right here in Sacramento. I am the proud daughter of home refugees. I actually grew up on food stamp. I grew up on Medicaid, and had it not been for these critical safety net programs, I would not be here today.
Matsui is seeking her 12th term in Congress. She has served the area since 2005, when she won a special election to replace her late husband. The 81-year-old has served in her role for 21 years now and spoke with us from Washington, D.C.
I represent this region's values and concerns. I deliver real results for people so they can see and feel how it affects their daily lives. I've delivered, as you know, billions of dollars for flood protection to keep people safe. I've also delivered billions in transit and road repairs.
Vang is seeking her first term in Congress. She was elected to the Sacramento City Council in 2020 and re-elected after running unopposed in 2024. The 41-year-old has served on the council for 5.5 years.
And I'm running because we need leaders who understand the day-to-day struggles of our working families, especially in this moment. I have over 20 years of policy experience, of governing experience, of community organizing experience. I have secured millions for our youth impacted by poverty, violence, and trauma in the city of Sacramento. I have proud to have led 3 citywide ballot measures, and we are 3 for 3.
I asked each candidate what they would do to lower the cost of living.
You know, lowering the cost of living is really my number one priority. Healthcare, I know. I've taken on the fight to lower prescription drug costs and really to make sure that we can lower the healthcare costs. And I won't stop doing that either.
I am pushing for Medicare for all. Right now, so many of our working families are seeing their premiums go up. And so I am an advocate for Medicare for all. I am working for our working families. I don't take any corporate PAC money, and I answer to the people.
What are the key issues you will focus on if elected?
really creating good paying jobs. I think that's really very important. I'm the top Democrat on the Energy and Commerce Communications and Technology Committee. As a ranking member, I co-authored with another member from Texas the Chips and Science Bill, which really was wonderful because it's designed to really make sure that we have domestic semiconductor production. We already have a deliverable here too, because the Bosch-Roosevelt facility comes right out of this. And I'm always happy to help my neighboring areas.
I am the anti-war candidate. Working families and Americans do not want war in this moment. As a daughter refugee, I understand the day-to-day struggles of all of our families, and I also understand the consequences of war, the generational trauma that war has on family. The other piece that I care deeply about is really around immigration. I have taken a position on abolishing ICE because this is an agency that is harming our Black and brown communities, terrorizing our refugees and immigrants. And ICE did not exist before 2003. And so I am running on that record in particular because our Congresswoman, she is now coming out and taking a position against ICE. She hasn't called for the abolishment of ICE.
We cannot have any more funding for ICE. We have to make sure that we change what they do. It should not be a terrorism attack on people. The Trump administration has to be made accountable, and we'll make sure we do that.
How will you work across party lines during these very divided times to get things done for your district?
Establishment, Republicans and Democrats, bought by corporation, created the conditions for what we have today. And when we talk about affordability, it's a nonpartisan issue. Families in Placerville, in Lodi, in Galt, in Elk Grove, they're struggling to get by. And so when I become the next Congresswoman, I look forward to working with my colleagues to address the high cost of living.
I think it was just last week, I passed 2 bipartisan bills in order to make sure that we strengthen our emergency communication system, which, as you know, is really critical in this time with the fact of wildfires and extreme weather. There are times we have to really fight, and we do that. But when there are times that we can actually work together, I will use every means that I can find in order to find a path to get results for my constituents.
As for fundraising,
our campaign does not take any corporate PAC money. And I really believe that when your campaign is funded by corporate PAC, when you have a corporate credit card, you have debt to pay. What does that mean? That means that you won't move with a sense of urgency on Medicare for All, which is why Congresswoman Doris Matsui has not taken a position on Medicare for All, because she takes money from Big Pharma and health insurance company.
I asked Matsui about Vang's criticism that she's beholden to corporate interests and not responsive to her constituents.
I really feel that having a campaign of just criticism doesn't do us any good at all. I will say this, I'm in the district a lot and I have many communities to go to. I do have a job in Washington too, where I'm doing things for Sacramento.
Vang has secured the endorsements of groups including the National Union of Healthcare Workers, UAW Region 6, and Working Families Party. And Matsui has the endorsements of the California Democratic Party, Planned Parenthood, and Governor Gavin Newsom, among others. Now, in a rare move, the California Federation of Labor Unions endorsed both candidates. We've listed all the candidates in this race on our website, abc10.com.
Becca, thank you. Coming up, our Champions of Hope, a life saved inside a classroom thanks to fast-thinking school staff. In tonight's Champions of Hope, we shine a light on the school staff who stepped into action to save a student's life. The Roseville Joint Union High School District honored the staff this week. So here's what happened. During class, a West Park High School student's heart stopped and he stopped breathing. He says his band teacher called the nurse. The school officer also came to help. They gave him CPR and used an AED before he was taken to the hospital. Following a stay at Stanford Children's Hospital, the student named Mark is back on campus and in his classes. Glad to hear he is doing well, and we're so thankful for that staff. And we're thankful for you. Thanks for joining us and watching us and inviting us into your home. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.